How are going on, fellas? A little bit of a different video, a bit of a training walkthrough today. So this is my push workout. I'll do this every single week. I don't really chop and change anything really until I get to like the 16 to 20 week mark, and then I'll change a couple of different things. So I'm going to walk you through it step by step. Obviously, give you some obviously pointers, obviously on the particular exercises. A couple of sort of like slight and just minor tweaks that obviously allow you to get more out of the movements, and obviously just give you some overall sort of like inspiration with the actual movements that I'm doing and why I'm doing them essentially. So let's get into it. So first of all, it will be a chest cable fly. So when they're doing this is they are when they're doing the actual fly movement themselves, they are focusing on obviously touching their hands instead of touching their elbows. Okay, so when you are doing this movement, same goes for this, or same goes for a pet deck. God, I'm really look like I'm glistening. Same goes for a pet deck. You want to really showcase and really feel obviously the chest through, essentially focus on touching your elbows together. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that, but essentially you just want to aim for that. So it's more of a that movement. So you're really pushing that bicep into your chest and squeezing at the top. Whereas obviously when we are just meeting our hands together, we're always going to be working a little bit more bicep essentially, which obviously we're trying to avoid. It's always going to sort of like a takeover, but the main aim is to sort of like keep obviously constant tension on that chest and obviously reduce the involvement of any other muscle essentially. So nice and slow on the way back, big squeeze at the top, just a slow and controlled movement all the way through, essentially. Just making sure with this, same with all the movements, I would 100% expect you go to full and complete failure on pretty much every single exercise. Okay, that's the way I'll sort of like structure my workouts. I'll do a sort of heaviest first, so around sort of like the 5 to 9 mark, a little bit lighter around sort of like 9 to 12, and then obviously a little bit lighter again, and do upwards of like 13 to 15, 16 reps really. So second exercise really just checking I'm in focus, is sort of the incline Smith press. So again, a little bit of a zooming out. But yeah, incline Smith press. So some people do incline barbell press. I just think Smith press, it just allows me to feel the muscle that I'm working that much more, and just provides a much more stable movement in my opinion. So you can really, again, like I said on the previous clip about just solely focusing on the actual muscle that you're working. So on this one, you really want to obviously focus on slow and controlled movements. You see people even on the Smith machine, or whether it's a barbell or even dumbbells, they go from obviously top part of the movement to the bottom so quickly. Like they literally just drop the weight down, and it there's literally, yes, you're getting something out of it, of course, but again, you want to get as much, my favorite term, you want to get as much bang for your buck. So you want to, for example, come at the top part of the movement down to the bottom. I would say even with on this movement around sort of like 4 to 5 seconds really, so nice and smooth, and obviously really, like I said, pressing really that mind to muscle connection, pressing the bar up with obviously using your palms essentially is what I'd always do. I say the word essentially far too often. So after this last one, I do a little bit quicker, but again, it's still slow and controlled movement. I'm not just dropping it on my chest, because like I said, you want to get as much out of the bottom part of the movement as obviously when you are pressing up essentially, as well. So yeah, again with this one, making sure that's slow and controlled movement, but also you're controlling that breathing as well. So, for example, when you are essentially or any other big compound movements like this, taking a big deep breath at the top, and then from just absolutely failed. Big breath at the top, hold your breath on the way down, and then exhale as much as you can at the top part of the movement. So third movement here is machine chest press. Sorry. So again, making sure obviously the chest is up and proud. Your shoulders, you're retracting your scapula essentially. So you're almost like doing a bit of a shrug, rolling them shoulders back, so your chest is high and proud, almost like facing upwards, to sort of the ceiling, and then really sort of like driving that bar, or obviously the handles, whatever you want to call them, obviously nice and slow, and obviously then driving them up to the ceiling essentially, nice and slow on the way down. Again, like obviously we did on that incline Smith press. Again, really controlling that weight on the bottom. You want to, for example, control that movement. Again, like I said on that previous one, we don't want to be, for example, just going from the top part of the movement to the bottom, just dropping it. Again, you're not getting loads out of that movement essentially. And then This would be my third like chest exercise, and I'll do three chest exercises on a push day. Okay, so I'll do them back to back, and then I'll do the shoulders, and then I'll finish off with the triceps. Some people will mix the two. I'd always obviously get the chest done first, and then shoulder. That's just my preference essentially. So usually for that third and final set, I'll really, like I said, just tax myself. So good to failure on all of them, but really, for example, repping them last few reps out. Obviously, some like force reps essentially, just like half repetitions. So first exercise for shoulder. So again, just I guess on just touching on this as well, since I didn't really mention it with the cable fly, is I'll always do almost like a bit of a pre-exhaustion. So I do this on pretty much all my movements. So instead of doing squats first, like a lot of people do, I'll do like leg extensions and hamstring curl. Same with obviously the shoulder press, and for example, the incline Smith press, the bigger movements. I'll do cable flies before the press. I'll do lateral raises before my shoulder press. Okay, I feel much more and I get it much more out of the actual movement itself. So when your muscles are firing now, so when my rear delts are firing on this exercise, when I jump on the shoulder press, I can feel that movement so much more. Same with on the chest, same with on the cable flies. When I'm warming up and I'm doing that exercise, when I jump on the incline Smith press or I don't know dumbbell press or whatever it may be for you, it's like you're going to get so much more out of the movement and you're just going to feel it much more. So that's a real good exercise, that obviously we just missed there actually. So some people, again, you can obviously do these dumbbells or you can do these obviously with the cables. I just really like the feeling from doing it on the cables because I feel like there's not really a drop off point. With dumbbells, you do get that a lot. So when you're at the bottom part of the movement with dumbbells, essentially you won't really feel like the muscles working that much because there's no real tension. Whereas here, even when my arms are by my side, obviously you can see obviously the cable's not touching the stack, so there's constant tension all the way through. So again, like I said before, you're getting more out of that specific movement all the time, essentially. So we move on here to the just standard sort of like dumbbell shoulder press. So again, I guess the key points here is obviously keeping that obviously spine in alignment, keeping obviously that back straight. But I guess a big one to sort of like speak about really is try and make sure that your arse is obviously kicked back to the back of the seat. And for example, that lower back is essentially touching the seat. So I see a lot of people when they're forcing these last few reps out, essentially that lower back is lifting off, they're slouching, they're moving from side to side and stuff like that. It's like you're taking obviously tension away from your sort of like shoulders, and you can sometimes twinge your back or anything like that and cause yourself a bit of an injury. So again, just keeping it nice and strict as much as you can, and obviously then progressing obviously that movement week on week essentially. And you're obviously better progressing like obviously doing it like that every single week instead of obviously cheating to try and get the last few reps out essentially, because it will again you will plateau much quicker. So first tricep exercise is a close grip tricep press. Again, some people do this on a barbell. I prefer it on a Smith machine just because again it's much more of a fluid movement, and I can really, which is one of the biggest cues on this is I can push the bar up with the palm of my hand. So if you just try this, even when you're doing like a close grip, um, like push-ups or anything like that, when you press your palms into the floor or into the actual bar itself, you feel your triceps contract so much more. It's absolutely ridiculous. So again, with like I wouldn't be able to hold the bar like that if it was just a standard barbell. Okay, whereas obviously with the tricep, with the Smith press, it's just up and down. It allows me to do that. Okay. And then just finally is one of my favorite tricep exercises really is the cable crossover. So again, obviously grabbing the left hand side of the cables with your right hand, and obviously left hand side with your, you know what I mean. So again, like I said, coming up to just above 90 degrees in the elbow, meeting your hands at the top, not crossing them, which is an important cue to think about. And like I said, really locking out that elbow at the bottom part of the movement. Again, making sure it's slow and controlled. We're not just repping out like that, nice and obviously crazy. We're obviously doing it slow and controlled, really squeezing at the bottom, getting a lot out of that obviously tricep, and then like I said, returning back to the starting point essentially. Again, with this, you want obviously your chest high, you want obviously your shoulders back. Mine are. It's a little bit different. It's a bit difficult for you to see on this one, essentially, just because obviously you can't see me face on. But yeah, this is honestly great exercise. So there's no real attachment to the cable. You just literally holding the ball, whatever it is. And obviously, usually you'd attach something on there, but again, you're just holding the actual cable itself, essentially. So nice and slow and controlled. And again, three sets of this really. So I'll do two sets mainly for my bigger movements. And then, for example, I would do, like I said, three sets for the smaller movements like this, more like the isolation exercises for the smaller muscles, essentially. And again, every single set for me here is done to complete failure. Okay, so even with your rest times and stuff, yes, around 2 to 3 minutes, but go when you feel ready to go, because you are putting max amount of effort into these exercises. Okay, so you need to be fully recovered because of these. Okay, so I think this is should be the last set here. And again, just because it is the last set, all my last sets, they have a little bit of a burnout set, then force repetitions, really squeezing as much, obviously, volume and as much blood into that muscle as literally humanly possible, and then a bit of a drop set as well to finish. So I'd do this on my last chest exercise, I do this on my last shoulder exercise, and I do this on my last tricep exercise, essentially just so I've completely fatigued the muscle. Like literally, there's nothing left in the tank, really. So yeah, that's pretty much my, I guess, push workout walkthrough essentially. So like I said, let me know really, obviously, if you guys obviously enjoyed this. Obviously, I love doing this stuff. Obviously, I'm obviously training through it, then obviously talking through the actual movements. It's brings back the old PT days. But yeah, if obviously you want to see a little bit more of this, like I said, obviously let me know, and then get some more sort of a little bit of a physique update to, I guess, to end with right now. So weirdly, I'm moving to my new flat this weekend, and definitely holding a little bit of water retention from the stress this weekend, shall we say? But weighing in just broke into the 70s this week, which is really good. But again, I don't feel like I look any better for it, but it's all subjective, isn't it? But yeah, hopefully, obviously, you guys have obviously enjoyed this little bit of a different video. Like I said, let me know if you want me to make obviously more of them. Again, obviously I enjoy it, but obviously hopefully just going into the actual detail of the actual workouts and why I'm doing them. Obviously, that I guess the sort of like techniques, and obviously sort of small or some minor sort of like tweaks that you can actually make to them to really get more out of the movements should sort of like help obviously you guys a lot. So yeah, any questions obviously just put them obviously in the comment section, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next one.